I'm here with some threats, y'all, that they sent to me. So this one about Casey or Tay or somebody like that, okay? It's titled Violent Police Misconduct. Six pleads guilty in torture, sexual assault of black men in Mississippi. Six white former law enforcement officers in Mississippi pleaded guilty Thursday, which is today, to federal charges in the beating and sexual assault of two black men, one of whom was also shot in the mouth. So yeah, this is about Tay and Casey. The five former Rankin County Sheriff's deputies and another officer appeared in federal court and pleaded guilty to 13 federal felony offenses, including civil rights conspiracy, deprivation of rights under color of law, discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence, conspiracy, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and obstruction of justice. The details of the crime the defendants committed is a horrific and stark example of violent police misconduct which has no place in our society today, said Christian Clarkey, Assistant Attorney General of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, in a news conference Thursday. The two black men, Michael Corey Jenkins and Eddie Terrell Parker, MCJ, JCM, ETP, PTE, say the officers bust into the home they were residing in without a warrant on January the 24th. Beat them, assaulted them with a sex toy, and shot them repeatedly with tasers over the course of about 90 minutes. One deputy then shot Jenkins in the mouth. The men say Clark described the assault as torture. She said the officers sought to dehumanize their victims and to send a message that these two black men were not welcome on their side of the river. The officers included former Rankin County Sheriff's deputies Brett McAppen, 52, Christian Dedman, 28, Jeffrey Middleton, 46, Hunter Elwood, 31, and Daniel O'Dyke, 27, and former Richland police officer Joshua Hartfield, 31, according to the indictment in the Southern District of Mississippi. Today's guilty pleas are historic for justice against rogue police torture and police brutality in Rankin County, the state of Mississippi, and all over America. Malik Shabazz, lead attorney for the victims, told U.S. Today significant time behind bars is ahead for all defendants. Three of the officers, Dedman, Elwood, and Opdyke, also pleaded guilty to using excessive force against a different victim in a separate incident last year. In the incident, Dedman beat and tased a white man and fired a gun near his head to coax a confession while Elwood and Opdyke failed to intervene. Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch also announced Thursday that her office filed charges in Rankin County Circuit Court against the six officers involved. The charges included aggravated assault, home invasion, obstruction of justice in the first degree, and conspiracy to commit obstruction of justice. This brutal attack caused more than physical harm to these two individual victims. It severed their vital trust with the people, Fish said in a statement. The abuse of power will not be tolerated. Federal indictment details abuse. According to the federal indictment, Parker was staying at the home of a longtime friend, a white woman who lived in a predominant white neighborhood, to help care for her, and Jenkins was there temporarily. One of the officers received a complaint that day from one of his white neighbors that some suspicious black men had been staying at the property. That night, the officer reached out to a group of officers who called themselves the Goon Squad and asked if they was available for a mission. According to the complaint, the group lost the name because of their willingness to use excessive force and not to report it. The complaint said the officers burst into the room, handcuffed the men, and repeatedly shot them with tasers. The group shouted commands at the men, used racial slurs, and assaulted the men with a sex toy. One officer demanded to know what the drugs were and fired a bullet into a wall, the complaint said. At one point, the officers poured milk, alcohol, and chocolate syrup on their faces and into their mouths, the complaint said. One officer also poured cooking grease on Parker's head and others threw eggs at the men. One officer ordered the men to strip naked and shower off to wash away evidence of abuse, according to the complaint. The officers then used a wooden kitchen implement, a metal sword, and pieces of wood to beat Parker. The deputies continued to shock the men with tasers and stole from the property. The horrific incident culminated in a mock execution when one officer fired a bullet in Jenkins' mouth, lacerating his tongue, breaking his jaw, and exiting out his neck, the complaint said. The officers then planted and tampered with evidence to corroborate their false cover story and cover up their misconduct, according to the complaint. They left him lying in a pool of blood, gathered on the porch of the house to discuss how to cover it up. Darren LaMarca, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Mississippi, said at the news conference in Jackson, Mississippi, "What indifferences? What's disregard for life?" The officer submitted fraudulent drug evidence to the crime lab, filed false reports, charged Jenkins with crimes he did not commit, made false statements to investigators, pressured witnesses to stick to the cover story, planted a gun and destroyed video evidence, shell casings, and tasers cartridges, according to the complaint. They become the criminals they swore to protect us from, LaMarca said. Clark said the officers' misconduct was fueled by racial bias and hatred. She reminded Americans of what happened in Mississippi in 1964 when Neshoba County Sheriff's Deputy Cecil Price arrested 3 civil rights workers and turned them over to members of the Ku Klux Klan who murdered them. There is still much to be done to root out law enforcement's misconduct, especially when that misconduct is motivated in part by the color of the victim's skin, Clarkey said. Investigations link deputies to other violent episodes. The Justice Department opened an investigation into the incident in Rankin County in February. An Associated Press investigation in March found several deputies involved with the episode. Also was linked to at least 4 violent encounters with black men since 2019 that left 2 dead and another with lasting injuries. Yeah. Deputies accepted to the Sheriff's Office Special Response Team, a tactical unit whose members received advanced training, was involved in each of the 4 encounters. Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey said in June all the officers involved had been fired or resigned. Jenkins and Parker filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against Rankin County that same month, seeking $400 million in damages. The 6 officers were expected to plead guilty to the state charges on August the 14th, officials said. They are scheduled for sentencing on the federal charges on November the 14th. Potential sentences on the federal charges vary for each of the officers and include a maximum of a life sentence, LaMarca said. The federal indictment is the culmination of 6 months of investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Mississippi, the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, the FBI, the state of Mississippi, and the Mississippi Attorney General Office, he said. Okay.